There's a track in Dead Space 3, which is called The Quick and the Dead. About halfway through, there's this very John Williams-like brass build-up, very rhythmical in that there are a lot of different rhythms happening at the same time and syncopations, but it's all building up with a cohesive image, should I say.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that section? Because I would love to know how you went about composing that, because I tried to get my head around it previously.
First of all, that was amazing to hear in Abbey Road in Studio One with the live orchestra playing. It was like my friend that played conch shell, very good friend of mine, and we do musical stuff all together all the time. And I brought him with me to London for Abbey Road, and he had a camcorder, because this was that old ago, but he had my little digital camcorder, and he was standing in the middle of the brass section, and he filmed for like an hour while we were recording. And I think when that first cue came up, he put the camera down because he had his mouth open, because he was listening to the brass play live in Abbey Road doing that, where like stuff was just all over the place. And there's some strings in that section too, but the whole orchestra was sitting in the room at the same time. So it was very, very cool. As far as the composition was concerned, I kind of remember what the gameplay was, and I think it was something about trying to rappel down and get away from something, and like you're basically running, which is a Dead Space trope by now. But I wanted to do what the Death Star run cue from the first Star Wars, when I don't remember what the pilot said, but they're like, here we go, and it shows the X-Wings sort of doing their little dive, and the music goes like da 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 da, and it's like very cool and like heroic. I wanted to do my version of that for Dead Space. And I think a lot of it was figuring out which voice would play between, unison French horns, unison trumpets, unison trombones, and sort of doing like, not even an octatonic diminished sort of scale, but just very, very crunchy harmonies, and a rhythm that would be not too busy, but busy enough where you're kind of like being assaulted in your ears from both sides, because horns are kind of far left, trombones are far right, trumpets are in the middle, and then the strings are spread out in front. So if you listen to that, the strings have a little little kind of fills in between it. And really, I think this is where me being a drummer steps in as well, because to me it was like a 4 or 6 bar drum fill, where you wouldn't be playing all the drums at the same time because it would just sound stupid. You're going, digga-doom, goom, digga-doom, doom, crash, crash, jacka-digga-bigga-digga, boom. And there's kind of a rhythm to it, but unpredictable things are happening. And I think if I can write 3 or 4 minutes of music a day, those like 30 seconds probably took me an hour, a couple of hours, I would imagine, because I also needed to mock it up so that EA could hear what it was like, and the music prep team could hear how it needed to be put on paper. And it sort of sounded a little cheesy, with MIDI brass, but live it was just like, oh my gosh, yes, especially when the whole orchestra does that big chord at the end and they kind of hit it and drop down and then swell back up. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I'm glad you pointed that out, because that was probably one of like 3 parts in the Dead Space 3 live recordings that I was looking forward to hearing, and it didn't disappoint. The other one, there was a Flugelhorn solo we did too, I think later in that queue, that was just, oh my gosh, he did such a great job. We used a bunch of different, like we used a C trumpet and a B flat trumpet. We even tried an A trumpet. We did it, Flugelhorn I think was the final version, but that solo player was amazing.